Today's episode is brought to you by the Positively Productive Toolkit, a collection of workbooks that guide you through self-discovery and self-awareness. These self-guided workbooks, which include links to assessments, can be completed in minutes. Request this free resource and others at the positivelyproductive.com/resources page. The compassionate person-first approach, the flexibility, the permission to change things up, change your mind, the permission to decide what productivity even means to you. That's all staying the same. And what I want to lean into is supporting capacity, right? And being aware of how everything is connected, because there's so much more we can talk about. Our nervous system, our stress response, what's on our task list, how we go about doing the tasks, all the things that we talk about are so interconnected. I want to highlight that more and more. You're listening to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zaratny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneur life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast and to episode 300. To celebrate this milestone, we're switching things up, and my longtime podcast manager and dear friend, Alesia Galati, is stepping in as guest host to interview me. We'll reflect on the journey so far and talk about how this podcast can truly support your life, right where you are. We'll share a few listener reviews, look at how the show has evolved and where we're headed next, and how you can make the most of this library of episodes without feeling overwhelmed. And at the end, you'll get a behind-the-scenes look at my life as I share 5 things you may not know about me. It's an episode packed with celebration, laughter, and inspiration. And whether you've been here since the beginning or you're just finding the podcast now, I'm so glad you're here. Let's get to it.
Lisa, my dear friend, oh my goodness, we are celebrating such an incredibly huge milestone today. 300 episodes on the podcast. Now, of course, I am all about the numbers and the stats. So you are one of 1.79% of podcasters that make it to 300 episodes. Like, cue the clapping, cue the cheers, the woo, whatever, because that is incredible.
I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. 1.79%. And this is like a huge number of podcasters, right? It's surreal, honestly. It's surreal. And I'm excited. And I'm so grateful you're here celebrating with me. Thank you.
Yes, I would not be anywhere else. As soon as you were like, hey, I'm coming up with 300, I was like, yes, I'm there. Let's do this thing. So, yeah, so excited. We have worked together the entire time. And I always love telling people, first client that took a chance on me supporting, hey, can I launch a podcast for someone else? And to celebrate this milestone with you truly means the world. And I'm so proud of all that you've accomplished in the last, was it 5 years now?
Yeah.
Since launching. So, yeah, the ability to show up consistently, the ability to show up with the same type of content, right? Which I think can be hard because we shift and we change as we grow as people, but your core message has stayed the same through all of it, where anyone can go back and listen to episode 1 and they are going to get the same Lisa that is today, the same type of inspiration and positivity that they need in their lives. So I'm just so proud of what you've accomplished here. It's so incredible. You have hit listeners around the world. You have 57 plus 5-star ratings just in the United States alone, with so many worldwide. I was looking through your stats earlier. We had a few countries in here. We got the United Kingdom, Canada, Lebanon, Philippines, Portugal, and Slovenia, which I
Mm.
thought was just so, like, what an inspiration to be able to use your podcast to reach outside of the world and outside of your world and be able to really share your message with them. So, multiple countries and ranking in the top 3% globally. Now, that's of about 4 million podcasts. And that means that you're, just for people who are like, what does that mean? It means that for the amount of downloads you get, the amount of listeners and regular listeners you get, your listen score, that you are part of the top 3% of podcasts. So, yeah, what an incredible journey, and more to come, because this isn't the end.
It's like this is sort of the new beginning, if you will, and there's always something more on the way, but we learn so much from what we've done. And I'm so grateful to be here and to have this opportunity, and grateful for you. I can remember being scared to launch and unsure and thinking, who wants to hear from me? And taking the chance. And I love being able to be like, I was first.
Right.
But I'm here in both ways because of all that you have done for me and taught me and the way you've guided me. But yes, I've also taken that advice and run with it. Not even walked sometimes, but absolutely run with it. And I'm excited because when you do something like that and you're like, this is working, it's changed the game for me in so many ways. And it's even changed me as a person, taught me so many lessons. I shared those actually in the last episode because at the same time we're celebrating 300 episodes in the podcast, we're also celebrating 10 years of me being in business with Positively Productive Systems, which is the business behind the podcast. And it's a lot to celebrate all at once. And I'm humbled and happy.
Yes. And I appreciate you taking my advice.
I have good advice. Take it.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go into reading some reviews that I've pulled. Like I said, you have 57 plus. That's just in the US, not including the countries that I mentioned. So we're looking at 60 plus reviews that you have that are 5 stars. But I'm going to read a few of them. I picked 4 because I couldn't, like you.
Can't
Don't
just pick
make me
one.
choose. I couldn't just pick 3. So the first is a great mix of value-packed, bingeable episodes and longer, more in-depth interviews. And I love the concept of shame-free productivity. It can be difficult to change your life, so it's important to be kind to yourself throughout the process and improve at your own pace. No matter what industry or stage of life you're in, you'll find value here. How to clear digital clutter is definitely something that I've never seen anyone discuss. So thank you so much to the person who wrote that. And I have to agree. I think that what you're creating here in talking about the clutter from a, like, not a shameful way, right? I think that a lot of productivity, especially right now, as we are in the beginning of a new year, can feel very, you're supposed to, a lot of shoulds, a lot of you should know better already. And we can feel a lot of that with the content that we're consuming, but also the productivity podcasts out there that we might be listening to. And so I think that having someone who's talking about, hey, this is a shame-free productivity approach is just, one, so unique, but also so helpful. Why was that important as you were kind of wanting, and I know this is a bit of a shift that you've made in the last year or two, but why was that more of a, I need to focus on this?
Yeah, it was a pattern that I kept seeing with my clients. And as I said, throughout this whole process, I've learned so much. I feel as though I've taught so much, but I've also learned so much in this conversation between clients, between guests, between other humans, just trying to make it through, trying to deal with all the stress and all the expectations and all those shoulds. And I kept seeing this pattern of exactly what you said. I should know better, and what's wrong with me, and why didn't I get this? And you're not telling me something I don't already know, but you did tell it to me in a way that feels better. Oh,
Right.
okay. Let me try it again. It's the encouragement sometimes of, yeah, you already know this, but we'll find a new way to come at it. Or maybe acknowledge and honor the fact that now is the time and before wasn't. It's the fact that I lived with that shame for so long and I'm still fighting the good fight. And my MO has always been, I've gone through this and it's been really difficult for me. How can I make it easier for others who might be dealing with it too?
Right. Which I think is so important and definitely comes through with your content. And if this is your first episode listening to Lisa, please go back and listen to other ones because there's so much gold in these episodes. All right, on to the next review. With so much darkness in the world, we can all use a glimpse of light and positivity. With so much hustle and grind, we can all slow down. Thank you for this much needed space. It's become one of my favorite listens, and that's from the UK. And what I love about that one is that I think you really do encourage us to slow down. And I think that sometimes, especially in the very fast paced, very disconnected world that we live in right now, where, I was thinking about this just the other day about like relationships and like my relationship with my husband. And like, when was the last time that I sat at the table, we had a meal together without a phone? Right. And like, usually it's, hey, we're all hanging out watching a movie while eating a meal, right? But like, when was the last time that we really sat and ate together and talked? And so, having such a fast paced world, how do we slow down? What is maybe one way that we can slow down that you tend to tell your clients that can really help us with that slowing down? Because sometimes it can feel indulgent to do sometimes.
This is part of the mindset that we are trying to adjust as we go. And we're learning the possibility of this, that you can still be productive and get the things you need to get done without the rushing. So where can you find those pockets or those moments? And I would say that first step is actually, oh, let me see if I can find a pocket or a moment. And my recommendation, honestly, is creating a moment that's simply breathing. Now, I love the idea of, oh, could we leave the phones somewhere else while we have dinner? That's great. I love suggesting things like when you have a very short commute, you're driving, to the store, maybe it's like 10 minutes or something like that. Try keeping the radio off and leaving the phone off, right? Little things like that. Those are great first steps, but even before that, right? When we're trying to start a new habit or at the very least explore something that feels really unfamiliar to us, and unfamiliar can feel scary and
Yeah.
maybe, like you said, indulgent or off. I would say taking 2 minutes between one task to the next, one project to the next, before you're about to get into the car and commute somewhere, from one point to the next where you're always go, 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 think about the next time you change up, even when you get up from your desk to go to the bathroom or whatever, taking a moment, 2 minutes maybe, where you're breathing. That's my first suggestion. I actually created a 2-minute transition meditation for that very purpose. It was like 2 minutes. You can set a timer for 2 minutes and make a difference in how your nervous system feels and how your stress response. You can go from having one, a spike in it, to calming that stress response, to allowing your brain to shift, to focus properly on the next thing. And it's funny you should talk about having a meal, because I've talked about that stress response difference and how you can go from, your fight or flight, you're focused, and then the adrenaline's pumping and you're worried and working and doing all the things. And we need that for focus. But then when we go to have a bite to eat, we need to be in what's called rest and digest. We need to shift our sympathetic to parasympathetic. We need that shift in order to digest better, in order to have a moment where we've shifted our body out of stress response and given it the break that it's needed. So I guess another part of that mindset that I would say is remember that every intentional choice that you make doing those things actually is part of your productivity effort.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I love that. As someone who has kids, my solo drive to the store is the only time I get to listen to explicit music. So
Fair,
I won't be doing
fair.
that. But I like the idea of like when I'm walking from the house to the car, can I stand on the front porch? Just take 5 deep breaths, right?
Yeah.
I saw someone, they were like, if you are standing up and you like kind of scrunch your toes. Is that the right way to even say that? I think.
Yeah.
You like scrunch your toes 20 times, that it can actually like reduce your stress levels. It's probably because you're just being intentional. You're breathing through it. You're focusing on one action, right? So, like, how can we bring that to, like you said, just a quick moment? And we will have the link for that 2-minute guide in the show notes as well for anyone who's like, and wait a minute, I kind of want that.
Back up.
Yes, make sure that you grab that. All right, on to the next review. And this one's also from the UK. I have recently discovered this podcast and am now binge listening to all episodes. Each one is so helpful and provides amazing tools. I also love Lisa's energy and way of asking the right questions. So happy I found this. I love that one just because they love you. And I think that your podcast does lend itself to binge listening, right? I mean, yes, you have some longer episodes where you maybe go more in depth, but I know you've been doing a lot more solo episodes. They're shorter. You script your solos, so they're more succinct and to the point. There's not a lot of the fluff that I think we can get into when it comes to mindset and productivity and well, like we were talking about before we hit record, grab the essential oils and that will heal all your wounds. Like that's not how that works. You have to have these tools that are going to help you and support you and you lay them out so beautifully, but also in a way that you can binge listen and feel like, oh, that was my that was my serotonin for the moment. We're good.
I love that. And these are new to me because I only see the US reviews. So this is extra exciting for me to hear that. And it does my heart good because that is the whole point of having the variety that I do and to be able to make things accessible wherever possible and in so many ways because we're all out here fighting, fighting the good fight. And I want to make it just a little easier, a little better.
And I think you do. All right, last review. The thing about Lisa's podcast that really speaks to me is her ability to infuse the concept of productivity with compassion. When we approach our work, ourselves, and others with compassion, every outcome is improved. That thread runs through every episode, and every conversation is so authentic. The caring and sincerity are palpable. Cannot recommend this podcast highly enough. Ideal for all of us navigating modern life and work. Have also availed myself of her one-on-one coaching sessions, and I highly recommend, that's all caps, highly recommend, was exactly both the jumpstart and the blueprint for healthy productivity. Now, as someone who has worked with you, like I've been a client of yours, you're a client of mine, this is something that I think that people really should avail themselves of is your one-on-one. If you believe that the podcast gives value, the way that you dive deeper into the customization of productivity, we kind of alluded to this a little bit before, but almost this idea of like, it's indulgent to like take a moment for yourself. But for the mom who is caretaking both ends, their child and their parents, or the person who is working full time and commuting and trying to be present with their friend group, right? Like there's so many different things that certain people might need depending on their situation. And to be able to talk that out with someone who understands the struggles, who can give you, here is a roadmap that's going to work specifically for your situation is so incredibly valuable. So, what are some of the one-on-one kind of starter packages that you have where people can start working with you and what kind of things they can maybe expect?
Well, thank you so much for asking. And if you aren't quite convinced yet, don't worry. We have strategy calls on the podcast so you can actually hear it happening in real time. And what it is the difference between we're talking out these concepts and you're doing the DIY and it's awesome. But now you need to take that next step because you're all out of ideas and like you've tried all the things, right? And now you're hitting that wall. We take it to the next level. And what that one review was talking about with strategy and creating a blueprint, that's also been described by other clients as diagnosing, right? Saying, okay, what isn't working, but also what is. That can be done in different levels. Each of the packages that I have actually is very singular, one off, and at different levels depending upon what you need in the moment. One of the first, like it's a sort of, try it before you buy it kind of thing, is the clarity call. It's like a quick, affordable, can we just talk about something that I listened to on the podcast and I'd love to dig in and figure out how does that apply to me and what should I do with it? It's sort of that, let me have a takeaway with something specific to me I can actually try. That's the clarity call. And then from there, I have like the focus boost and the strategy. And the strategy is the big one. People find such benefit from that. But you don't have to get to that point. You can start small. And I've done the same thing with accountability. And you've actually done that with me as well. That is like taking the next level for maintenance and course correction. And I don't want to get off track. I'm making progress. We've all been there, right? Where we're like, oh, I'm so close to keeping this going. And then life happened. And now I'm off track. The accountability sessions are the repeat sessions where we check in and I help you stay on track and course correct and to be okay with it.
Right.
You're human and things happened, but what do you need to do next? What's the next best step for you? And even with those, I do have standard accountability coaching, but I have one that's been super popular lately, async coaching. And what I mean by that, when you have asynchronous messaging, that means we're messaging each other on like a walkie-talkie app like Voxer or on WhatsApp if you prefer that. And we go back and forth where you can leave a message when you're thinking of it, when you're struggling, when you need it. And then I reply when I'm available. And I keep coaching you with personalized coaching in a really simple way. So yeah, there's a lot of options, but no worries. When we talk, I can help you actually figure that out too. I'm all about helping clients make the best decision for them and to take away the overwhelm. But it's also really important to me that they have options because if you're going to customize, you can't just say only one answer is going to be the thing for you.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to the accountability. I want to say it was a year we worked together in that capacity, and I wrote a book.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you did.
like a whole book. I don't know that I would ever publish it, but it was so incredibly therapeutic to write it, to have someone to read it, to kind of walk with me on that journey. It did not feel solo. It felt like even on moments where I was like, yeah, I didn't get anything written last week at all because life, there wasn't any shame. There wasn't any like, "Oh, well, you got to do better next time." It was like, I totally understand. What's your plan on adjusting so that you can hit this deadline that you want to do? And here's some recommendations, right? It was just so incredibly supportive. So, yeah, everybody just go grab all the things. Go get it because working with you is so incredible. Now, we do want to make sure that we mention this special recognition. There was a LinkedIn recommendation that you received, and I'm going to go ahead and read it because I think that it's really good. What stood out right away is how she talks to you. It feels like she's sitting right beside you, not lecturing, not rushing, just meeting you exactly where you are. In the chaos, the caregiving, the anxiety, the I have 450 things on my plate and can't slow down long enough to breathe moments. She spends a few minutes naming that experience with such accuracy that you feel seen, and then she calmly walks you through a path forward. I love that so much. And I think that that really is the energy that you bring to all the things that you do, not just your podcast, right? Like your personality on your podcast is the same personality that you bring, a little goofier maybe, like in the one-on-one, and the personableness that you have. But I think that you are yourself through and through, and the kind of care and compassion that you speak with on your show is the same care and compassion that you give in the one-on-one as well.
Feeling scattered or stuck? When your mind is full, it's hard to focus on what truly matters. That's where the guided mind sweep comes in. A short, mindfulness style practice designed to help you release mental clutter, reduce stress, and create space for what's next. It's free, easy to do anytime, and listeners tell me it's a game changer for refocusing fast. You can find the guided mind sweep package for free at positivelyproductive.com/PLP sweep. I appreciate that. And I try for that. I want to walk my own talk. All the things that I recommend to people come from having lived it and also come from me trying to do the very same things and understanding the challenges. And yeah, that was a portion of the really long recommendation that this person left for me. And it was such a delight because it was a surprise to me when it first happened. And they actually went from this, I'm a big fan and I've binged the episodes and this is what Lisa's brought to the table, to if you do this just in your podcast alone, I can't imagine the value I'm going to get working with you. And so now they're also a new client and I
Nice.
love it. And I'm very excited. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, no, I've already done a lot of the work based on what you've given me. So now where do we go from here? And it's so exciting. You're right. I am a little goofier, but that's only because I figure out your sense of humor and I customize that as well.
Yes, there's a lot of bestie energy, but we've known each other for years, so that helps.
Too true. It does.
Oh, so good. We've talked a little bit about what the podcast kind of used to be, some of the evolutions that have happened through the years, and there's so much goodness in it. But where is the podcast heading? 300 is a lot of episodes. I'm sure you're kind of ruminating on some shifts and changes that you might want to make, or maybe doubling down on some things. What can people expect as they move past this 300 mark?
So you're absolutely right that when you hit a milestone like this, you want to start thinking about what's next and what changes might make sense. And so in walking my own talk and how I would coach someone, I would also say, you don't necessarily have to change anything if it feels right and it feels like you're on the right track. And there's a lot of it that is. So it's more tweaking and leaning into things and doubling down, like you said. So what stays the same? Shame-free productivity. That is it. I am here to encourage you. It doesn't mean we're not going to get things done. It doesn't mean we're not going to keep pushing forward. We're encouraging resilience, not trying to shame you into making things happen. The compassionate person-first approach, the flexibility, the permission to change things up, change your mind, the permission to decide what productivity even means to you. That's all staying the same. And what I want to lean into is supporting capacity, right? And being aware of how everything is connected, because there's so much more we can talk about. Our nervous system, our stress response, what's on our task list, how we go about doing the tasks, all the things that we talk about are so interconnected. I want to highlight that more and more. And we do that to some extent already, grouping things together. And I mention in every episode that I possibly can other episodes that might work with it or connect with the same concept, especially if you want to do a deep dive. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And to honor you as a person, honoring your seasons and your limits. And when we shift identities and the world shifts around us, I want to make sure we understand how it all works together, but how you can keep taking one step in the right direction, no matter what's going on around you.
Yeah, and I think that's so needed right now, right? There's a lot of external things happening in the world that can leave us feeling disjointed, disconnected with people around us, with our bodies, with the moment that we're in right now, because our mind is worried about all of the other things happening in our world. And so to be able to take, okay, what is that next best step? And it's not just what's the next best step for everybody, it's what's the next best step for me right now and what I need and what I also have the capacity to actually do. Right. And so you bring all that.
And understanding that it's not always the next best step to be productive. Sometimes
Right.
the next best step is to not be productive, but intentionally, so that you can heal. And I think that aspect of it is like, how do we move forward, continuing to heal ourselves from not only things that have happened already, but things that continue to happen to us?
Yeah.
That's going to be incredibly important.
So good. So excited. Cannot wait. So 300 episodes is a lot. Where should people get started? I know you've got quite a few collections and playlists for people. So where can they get started, find those playlists? Maybe what kinds of words might they want to look for if they're feeling a certain way?
Starting point is often wherever you feel like you need it the most. And that's what I recommend all the time. 300 is a lot. And it's meant to be a choice, not a pressure to binge listen to them all, unless,
Right.
like you said, the serotonin is flowing and you're like, I like hanging out with Lisa. I like hanging out with you too. I love it. So go for it if you want. But also, if you're like, I barely have time, then it's about thinking, okay, what do I need help with the most? And I think it's less about a key word and more about thinking of the answer to the question, if I could fix blank right now, if I could get help with blank, I would breathe easier. Think about that. And you're like, it might be organizing and it might be decluttering. It might be, maybe you don't know that that's the thing. Maybe it's, I'm feeling stressed, and we'll help you make those connections because these episodes do that where you're like, oh, I didn't realize that the clutter around me and in my brain and on my to-do list are all contributing to my stress response, which then makes me sick. Oh, like we'll figure that out, but pick your starting point
Right.
and we'll get you there. And you can go to the podcast page of the positivelyproductive.com website, and you can either use the search bar and type in a word that you're thinking, or actually look for some of the playlists that I have, and they're growing because there are so many topics. There's things on stress management. There's a playlist for the strategy call episodes I mentioned. If you want to hear me coaching someone else live, there's all different types of playlists. So if you're not sure, you can start with those and kind of look at the titles. If you have a word or concept in mind, search that way. There's no rules. It's about saying, I've got plenty to choose from, but I know inside me what I need right now. Let me match it up to what's there. And so I'd say start with what resonates with you right now. Use those playlists in the search bar, and then also make lists for yourself and don't feel like you have to listen to it right away. Listen to part of it if you can only do that. Re-listening is encouraged and actually happens a lot with my episodes because then you come back to it at a different time when you're ready, or maybe with one of my workbooks. There's a lot of different ways to listen to the episodes, and they're all right as long as they're right for you.
Right.
And the last thing I would suggest is create your own playlist. And I do that for myself with podcasters that I love, where I have like a Spotify playlist and I just grab it and create a listen list, as I call it. So do that with mine as well.
Yes, so good. And we've talked about ways to work with you. Go check out those episodes, like you said, on those strategy calls if you're unsure, or if you're like, well, what might that look like? If I haven't convinced you at this point, what are you doing with your life? I'm just kidding. Also not. But go check those out. That can also give you an idea of the type of person that Lisa is and the way that she talks very compassionately about the problems that you might be facing or the things that you might be just wanting a little bit of guidance on. So definitely go check that out. You're not signing away your life. They're very affordable, and Lisa does incredible work. Now, We're gonna end with some kind of funsies stuff. 5 things that you probably didn't know about Lisa. I probably know all these, but that's because we're
Probably.
friends. But what are 5 things that your listeners might not know about you?
Okay, yeah, this is the real behind the scenes here. And some of them are kind of like offshoots of something you might have known, but you didn't know the full aspect of it. So the first one is the talk of multi passionate life in this podcast is very real. And it comes from an entire life of being a multi passionate. And here's the part that you probably definitely didn't know is that my multi-passionate wiring has been with me my entire life, and for a lot of it, I carried shame.
Mm,
I was the person who had I had the corporate world side of things. I had a degree in English, a degree in library science. I went into communications and marketing communications, and I kept having a job for a couple of years and then being like, nope, this isn't right, and moving on. And I was taught that that was considered less loyal and flighty. And it was really hard for me. And then I went into the entrepreneur world where it feels a little safer. And I did all kinds of stuff like real estate work and wedding photography. And I did a decade of voice work. I don't think that's something that wouldn't be guessed, but that's like a,
right.
side note. And all of these things, I loved doing them, but I felt like they were each pieces of me. And I finally realized, oh, this is being multi-passionate. So that's number one, that I had shame, and I thankfully was able to move past that and advocate for other multi-passionates.
Yeah, so important in your work and in your podcasts. I think that's one of the best things about you is being multi-passionate, that you can bring that perspective of no shame, of how can we integrate all the pieces of you. And if they don't fit, that's okay with what we're doing and maybe trying to tackle right now, but let's honor that still. And so I love that about working with you.
Sometimes all you need is someone to help you cut through the chaos and make sense of it all. That's what my clarity call is for. In just 30 minutes, we'll get to the heart of what's blocking you and outline simple, doable steps forward. It's a compassionate, no pressure, budget friendly way to get moving in the right direction. Learn more and book your spot for only $55 at positivelyproductive.com/PLP Clarity. Thank you. All right. Number 2, this almost sounds super obvious. Like, what is this, a gimme? No, I totally knew this. But again, it's the sort of deeper aspect of it. When I say music has always been a part of my life, I mean that it's been my lifeblood. Like, it's been an essential part of me and has not only been connection and joy and even nervous system regulation, which is very obvious. And I've talked about it on the podcast, but also it's been my own therapy.
Mhm.
It has saved me multiple times. And I've also had times in my life where I've had less music, right? We have different seasons in our lives where, we maybe don't have the same access to things. And I can remember a time that was really difficult for me where I had far less access to music than normal. And it made me realize how much I need to prioritize that going forward. And it doesn't always have to look the same. Again,
Right.
that's something I coach. I walk my own talk. But yeah, music has been not just a part of my life, but something that has sustained and healed me.
And you play in a band.
I do. I do.
Really?
Yeah, I was a classically trained piano player. I played brass instruments. I played the trombone primarily in concert band, so I was a band geek. I'm self-taught on many instruments, on the flute, not well, on the guitar, also not well. And I'm currently in a rock band with my son and my husband, and yeah, get to play gigs and have a blast and, be a teen all over again.
Love it.
But again, it's part of the joy, part of the connection, and part of who I am. So I'm trying to live authentically.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to number 3. I wanted to think of a time in my life that changed me, and the obvious answer would be what I talked about, which is being a caregiver. That's absolutely true. But there's another time I wanted to mention, which is that I've been through some serious financial trauma with my family. And, respectfully, I don't try to get into details because it's not fully my story to tell. But my husband did lose his job after many, many years as a loyal employee. So we have lived that trauma, that shift, moving out of the only home that my children ever knew and moving into a new place, a new community that has welcomed us and has been incredible. I mean, there have been more opportunities and more joy and just more points of gratitude
Mm.
for what we've experienced here than I could have ever imagined that shaped me. You know, understanding capacity, especially when it comes to budget, is very real for me. And it's shaped my desire and my perspective to make everything that we do when we are trying to be more productive and grow and achieve and reach our goals, to make those things simple, quick, budget friendly, all of those things, because I know what it's like to try to be a better person and to change your life and to achieve things, but also have to be very real about how you're going to pay for it,
Mm.
not only with money, but with time.
And I think that you do that so beautifully in the variety of options that you have for people, right? Like, just this podcast is an incredible free resource for people. You have toolkits, you have low ticket things that people can grab for a couple bucks, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not super expensive to be able to get the resources that people need from you. And so I think that you, like you said, you're walking the talk, the things that you talk about on the show, that is how you authentically show up in your business and your life as well. And I think that we can all, especially with after COVID and all of that stuff, can relate to that financial uncertainty that kind of can happen as we age through jobs.
Yeah. And, as the world around us continues to
Yeah.
change, we can feel it more in some seasons, less in others. And yeah, I want to honor that.
Yeah.
All right, we are on number 4, and I thought it would be interesting to share a concept that where it's a belief or a challenge, something that I've unlearned really well. And I mean, I got this down. And maybe you might know it, but it's about rest. And it's the fact that it's not earned and it's far more necessary than we can ever imagine. I am all about resting appropriately. And when I say that, I mean resting as I need it, understanding my body and my mind, knowing when I need to shut it down, being really, really careful about my bedtime, the window of opportunity that I have to go to sleep properly, listening to my cues, taking naps when I didn't think I needed them, and definitely taking them when I knew I was going to need them, staying up all night and
Right.
reading a book that I can't put down. What? Who said that? Yeah. So it's understanding that it's so productive. Rest is productive. It's supportive. It's part of our productivity system. And I've got that on lock, as the kids say. I'm all about it. And that's why you hear me calling it out all the time. And I will encourage everyone everywhere to rest. It's not to be earned. It's necessary to do what you need to do.
Yes, it's so incredibly important. And it is something that you have to learn for yourself. What is your, I recently heard the idea of spoons
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to disability. And I thought that was such an interesting topic. But like, all right, you have 12 spoons. Everyone has 12 spoons, but getting ready for work might cost someone one spoon, but someone with a disability might cost them 3 spoons. So there's 3 spoons gone. Right? And then, like, how do you manage the rest of your day? And so you really have to know yourself. You have to know what your own capacity is, what kind of rest your body needs when you do have the best sleep, right? Like there's so much that goes into it, and that's something that you can help with, right? For people who are like, "But I don't really know." Talk to Lisa.
Exactly. And part of my community also involves those who are dealing with chronic illness. And when you have that, another part of it is okay, normally you may need 3 spoons compared to someone else who may need one. And some days getting ready in the morning may take 5. Like
Right.
it fluctuates. It depends on you. It depends on the day. And it's about understanding that and honoring it. So,
Yeah, love it.
but if you want someone who's pro nap, I'm here for you. Okay. And on to number 5. The real me still struggles. And let me give you a specific example. And I talk about this and I really believe in it, that how productive you are and like what you do does not equal your worth. But I still struggle with that. I still struggle untangling my productivity from my worth and my desire to schedule too much and to do too much, which is probably exacerbated by being a multi-passionate and loving the things as well. But that's one that I have to fight the good fight on every day. So just keeping it real.
You're not perfect. What?
What?
Oh my goodness. I can't believe it.
Shocking. Clutch your pearls, Alesia. Let's
Right.
go.
We're all learning, right? And I think that, yes, you do so many things and so incredibly well and can support people in so many of these ways, but you're not perfect. And you are also going to have moments where lifes, and that's okay too, right? So thank you so much for sharing those things that we maybe didn't know about you. And I gave some things too maybe people didn't know about you. But I think like it just gives people more of an idea of the kind of person you are and how incredible you are to work with, but also just as human in this world, moving to make a difference and a positive impact. Oh my goodness, 300 episodes. My sweet
I
baby
know.
podcast. I feel like my baby's a teenager and it feels weird, but I love it.
Wait till it's old enough to drink.
Right?
No. It is. I'm glad that you can celebrate this with me and feel that pride as well. It was one step at a time, one episode at a time, one idea and shift at a time.
Yeah.
And here we are.
With more to come.
With more to come.
Lisa, this has been so good. People, everybody go. Everyone. Listener, go and check out the resources in the show notes. Go check out the blog post, the website for those. If you're not sure where to begin, like Lisa said, there's so many episodes here, but you have so many incredible resources for people. So where can they go to find those resources? And again, what is that podcast page where they can go and search for maybe the topic that they're looking for, the thing that they're struggling with today?
Yes, at positivelyproductive.com, you will find all the things. /podcast. The podcast page is where you're going to find the playlists and the search button and all kinds of things relating to the podcast. And then the resources page. So positivelyproductive.com/resources. That's where you'll find the productivity toolkit, which helps us assess who we are and how we work best, what our core values are, what we love to do, and what brings us joy, which is actually a great way to create a self-care guide and to manage our energy, all of those good things. Oh, the guided mind sweep, that's your favorite, which is an audio of me walking you through the mind sweep process. 5 minutes to declutter your brain and move forward nice and fresh. All of that you can find on the resources page. And so many are free or, like you said, very low cost.
Yes, and we'll have links for all of that in the show notes. So good. Thank you for letting me be here for this, Lisa. It's been so incredible.
Thank you for being here with me, for being my guest host, celebrating, sharing all the details, especially those reviews. And thank you, my listener, for being here, for celebrating with me, and for allowing me to hit 300. And I'm ready for the next. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. I hope this episode inspired you, and I encourage you to think about one action you can take based on today's topic. Then share it with me so I can cheer you on. Go to positivelyproductive.com to connect with me, read blog posts, and access links from each episode and download resources.